Hi and welcome to A World of Words. I'm Vanessa and today I'm doing a mid-year update of my writing goals. So if you were here watching my channel in January or February, you might remember that I did a 2017 writing goals video. If you missed it, I will leave it right there in the cards for you to click upon if you are interested. Basically, I went through and talked about the writing goals that I have for the upcoming year. I was actually looking at this list the other day and realized I have checked off quite a few things, which is very exciting. And I thought, since it's about halfway through the year at this point, I will update you on my progress. Sure, these might have been the easier things on the list to accomplish, but still, I accomplished a lot of them. Got my happy planner, which is where I have my list. I have my list here. So the first one that I accomplished, do another read through of the first book in my first series, because I had some extra details I wanted to add. I wanted to do a few more world building things in there, so I had to reread the whole book and change certain things. And then I had to finish doing the chapter titles. And that was a really long book in a YA novel, probably going to be about 600 pages or so. I might be splitting it in half, but it would have a cliffhanger ending, so I'm not really sure about that, so I'm having someone read it and see if the ending is like okay, or if it's just like annoying, because I'm still really on the fence about that. But I wanted to add extra details to that book. That was one of the first things I did this year, I think. So for my second series, I was like almost finished with the first book in that, and I wanted to add a few final scenes to that book, and there weren't very many, there were just a couple of final scenes to add to that book, and I did that. So that first draft was finished this year, which was super exciting, and I think I did a writing vlog about that. That was my brainstorming a series writing vlog, I think. Also related to that, my brainstorming a series writing vlog, I did have to like plan out the next books in that series. I also had to decide if I wanted it to be a trilogy or wanted it to be 4 books, and I decided I wanted it to be 4 books because I started making the plans for the series and I realized, hey, I think I have four books worth of stuff that I want to do with this series and these characters. And I also started like majorly brainstorming the sequel to my second series, because again, there were things I wanted in the first book to be able to foreshadow in the second book, and if I didn't know what was going on in the second book, I could not exactly foreshadow it, now could I? I did enough outlining and brainstorming of the second book to finish the first book, which is super exciting. So I went through and I reread the entire book, and this book I think is probably about like 400 pages, but it's like a okay fantasy novel length, which I'm really happy about. It's perfectly acceptable length because my other book was too long. I finished my edits of the first book and I think it's nice and polished. Again, I'm going to have somebody read it, so I know if I made any horrible mistakes with the plot, because I haven't had anybody read it since I finished it all the way through. Oh yes, and another thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to figure out for the first book in the series, in my second series, the one that I said I like finished, one of the things I needed to finish was I needed to figure out when the chapters were going to split and what the chapter titles were going to be. I like having chapter titles in my books, and so I had to decide on the chapter titles, and I thought that was going to be a big deal, which is why it was on one of the things on this list, but I actually ended up just making the chapter titles really silly and fun, and I really liked them, and that didn't take me very long to accomplish, which I'm happy about, because for the other book, their chapter titles are like one word that like has so much meaning and can be interpreted in so many different ways that I don't think anybody will bother to interpret, but that's what I did. So that always took forever for me to brainstorm and figure out what word or few words would be perfect for that chapter and symbolize so many things. So actually, what I had told myself I wanted to do this year was to begin the revisions for that first book in the second series, and I finished them. So, yay! I didn't realize that I didn't have that many revisions. Again, there's a writing blog about that. If you've been catching up with my writing blog, you actually know all of my progress without actually seeing it on this list. So, is this a pointless video then? I hope not, because I'm listing it all out at once. Like a fun recap for you guys who care. And then, of course, I have like outlined the second book in my second series. There are these things flying around and they're attacking my lights. They're crawling everywhere. That's everything. On my little list of things I wanted to accomplish this year writing-wise, I have accomplished 6 out of the 10 things. That's over half for those of you who can't do simple math, which I'm sure you can, so I didn't really need to say it, did I? So the only other things, which I think I'm just going to spit out real quick, are finish the first draft of the second book in my first series, because I am at least 2/3 of the way done with that book. So I could still potentially finish it this year, unless I focus on a different book, which is what these next things are. The next one is to, oh there's the scary one. That first book in my first series that I talked about, the one that I'm like maybe splitting in half, maybe not. The next thing on the list is to do another round of queries for that. I don't want to do it. And it's not like my queries went horribly. All that happened was I got like, I think I did like 6 queries and then I got like 6 rejections. And they were very polite rejections, but they still hurt my heart. Oh, it was also like really discouraging because they didn't tell me what was wrong with it. They were just like, what's the line? It's not for us at this time, or exactly what we're looking for at this time, and blah blah blah. So I don't know if it's because my word count was ginormous or if it was because they hated my concept at the beginning of my book. I'm just going to say for my own pride's sake that it was the word count was just ridiculous. That's why I'm cutting it in half. And otherwise I'm gonna have to self-publish it. I'm okay with self-publishing because I've heard like convincing arguments to both sides, but I still want to try for traditional because I would like to see my book in a store for like distribution and stuff like that. It would be easier with a traditional publisher. I'm going to try again with the shorter version, hopefully. And then it was to finish the first draft of the first book in my third series, and then begin writing the second book in my second series. And that's pretty much it for my writing goals. So I'm pretty happy with the progress I made so far this year, and I really think that I can, if not all of them, I can probably knock off at least one more thing on this list. Please let me know how your writing is going in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I upload new videos every Monday, plus the occasional surprise video, so please subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. And as always, have fun and stay creative. Bye!